Hey ladies, this is my first tornado video. I've been planning to do a tornado video for the longest time, but I have not gotten the motivation to do it, and thought I just didn't have the editing skills to do it, but I completely threw that all away. I'm still gonna make a video about it, even if the editing's gonna be bad. I don't care. I just want to make a couple of videos on the tornadoes or tornado outbreaks I'm very intrigued by. So this one, my first one, will be about the 1955, I think, what was it? How down? Great Plains tornado outbreak. The 1955 Great Plains tornado outbreak. And if you know what else happened in 1955, tornado-wise, you would probably think of the Blackwell tornado, which was, you know, the mysterious blue glowing tornado, which, there's a bunch of theories about it. You know, there's some, like, type of, I don't know. I think there was, like, a UFO-like theory about it. I don't think that's true. There was also, like, power flashes. That's, also maybe a theory. But, you know, my theory is it was, constant lightning flashes because, you know, that's a thing that can happen when it comes to intense storms. It can be a really intense lightning storm. If you've seen videos of lightning, you've probably seen some of those. But, I'm just thinking it was that, but, you know, it could have, like, some sort of, like, it could have picked up some sort of, like, glowing object. I don't know how it turned the entire tornado blue, but, you know, maybe it was that. I don't know what they had back in the 1950s, but something like that. But the outbreak itself, I mean, had a lot of really destructive tornadoes. The 1955 Great Plains tornado, not just well known for the silly little glowing blue tornado. I mean, it has had 2 EF5s, 1 EF4, and 3 EF3s, and then the rest, F0 is around 12, F1 about 17, which is a lot actually, and then F2s are about 13. And says the 1955 Great Plains tornado outbreak was a deadly tornado outbreak that struck the southern and central U.S. Great Plains states on May 25th to 26th, which was, you know, a span of 2 days, I think, across 7 states, including 2 EF5 tornadoes in Blackwell, Oklahoma. Yeah. And Udall, Kansas, that caused most casualties. The outbreak killed 102 people while injuring hundreds more, usually electrical Oh! Hold on. I just had a stroke. Usually electromagnetic activity was observed, including St. Elmo's fire. Yep. And just a note here, I am not a meteorologist, so some of these things they say I might not understand. I mean, I haven't even gotten to the point of school where I have gotten a chance to take meteorology for my science hour in school. So, I mean, that's going to be a thing I can do in 11th grade, and I'm hoping to get to that soon. But, still have a bit of ways to go until I get to 11th grade. So, I have, like, 2 years left. I mean, I have a bit to go. But, yeah, I know how to read about most basic radar things. I know how to read the sea level pressure thing. I know how to read, like, I forgot what it was called. It's like it tells you if the wind's going away or towards the radar. Yep, I can tell. I know how to read the debris signature radar thing. I think anyone could. I mean, it's kind of easy to tell. I mean, not sometimes, but it's most of the time easy. But yeah, I know how to see most your basic meteorologist radar things that most people could understand, but, you know, there's my note there. I'm just hoping to take on a career of meteorology, yeah, in the future, you know. Not more storm chasing, but more like I'll work for the National Weather Service and not, you know, spending thousands and thousands of dollars on gas to travel from state to state to maybe not even see one singular tornado. Maybe not even a war cloud. Not even a anything. Just maybe just rain or lightning, and that's it. I mean, I could if take up maybe the photography part of it. Data wise, yeah, no, I don't think that's for me. That's too much work. But taking pictures wise, I can definitely do that. I like taking pictures a lot. You know, if I ever just like out on, you know, meteorology, I think I would take up photo I think you know what I'm trying to say here. But I would take them on that too. I mean, I really like taking pictures. I mean, I'm basically an artist, if you know what I mean. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go in depth with the more important tornadoes, because I'm not going to be talking about every tornado that went on. Yeah, I don't think anyone cares about the F-Zeros. I don't think most people care about the F1s. Some people might care about the F2s, but beyond that, I'm not going to talk about anything probably below EF3, because that's gonna be a lot. I mean, if I just did that, I only would have to cover around 6 tornadoes. Yeah, 6 tornadoes. So, yeah, our first we have on May 25th is an EF4 that was located southwest of I don't know how to say that. It says Brandon, Texas, to south of Dempsey, Oklahoma. Yep, that's what I'm gonna say. And it says time. It says UTC 2117, which yeah, I know what that means. And well, okay, 2117. Is this okay? So I'm gonna assume that's like military time. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, if that is, that'd probably be around like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, at night. I think. I don't know. And it says path length, 50 miles. That's pretty long. And max width was 1,100 yards. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Kind of having a hard time understanding the abbreviations here. So this is max width, or width. You know, it says, yeah, okay. And in summary, it just says 2 deaths. And that's it. It has its own little section below the chart. It says that this violent F4 moved northeast from 10 to 12 miles north of Wellington, Texas, and passed just east of Aberrand. The tornado ended southeast of Sweetwater, Oklahoma, or just south of Dempsey. F4 occurred in both. Okay, I think we know where those are. I just said 13 farm homes were destroyed, some of them which were swept away. 100 cattle were killed. I don't know how you count that. And a car was carried 700 feet, which is 0.13 miles, that's pretty long. 2 people were killed on the Oklahoma side of the path, and 18 were just injured along both states. So, I mean, it kind of like went throughout in and out the border, I'm guessing. It says highest wind speeds were 207 to 260 miles per hour, which is indeed very fast. So, yeah, I could see why this was an EF4. I don't know how the ratings were back in the 50s for the Fujiya scale, but I'm pretty sure they were lowered to, I don't exactly remember, but I'm pretty sure if I look up the enhanced Fujita scale. Alright. I'm pretty sure they changed it to where, yeah. So, if I'm looking here, highest wind speeds was 260, right? My little scale here says EF5s is a 261 miles per hour. 261 miles per hour is where the minimum wind speeds is for an EF5. So this tornado was a mile per hour off from being an EF5, which I think is silly. I mean, at that point, just round it up and make it an EF5, okay? It would have been cool if this tornado outbreak had to get 3 EF5s. But, whatever. And it says enhanced Fujita scale, so today now, it would definitely be considered an EF5 because it says 200 miles per hour or greater. So that means, EF6 were probably possible back in the older Fujita scale, but you know. Yeah, I kind of get these scales mixed up because I forgot they updated it to not just F, it's EF now, but you know. It was a mile per hour off from being an F5, which, whatever, guy, whatever. That's all I have to say for, I'm gonna just call it, well, it says here, the Wellington, Aberdeen, Texas / Sweetwater, Dempsey, Oklahoma, tornado? That's a pretty long name, but I'm next one, I guess. In our next one on the list, we're gonna talk. Once again, I said EF3 to, not EF3, F3 to F5, which our next F3 tornado was. I'm just gonna say Deer Creek tornado. It says south of Deer Creek, in Grant County, Oklahoma. It said time UTC 030, which I'm gonna assume, again, I don't exactly know what that's supposed to mean. I'm guessing that's like, I don't know, whatever it is, I think it's called like military time or something like that, or Navy time, or no, whatever you call it, you know. I'm just gonna assume that's like 30 minutes into, like, so it's like 12:30 a.m. or something like that. I don't know. It said path length 13.3 miles, which is pretty, not that long. It's pretty short actually. Well, no, 13.3 miles is pretty long, but you know, definitely way shorter from the last one. And it said max width was 440 yards, or for people who use the other measuring scale, it's 400 meters. And it says summary right here: a house and several rural buildings were destroyed. One person was injured. What is this? Grozlis? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Rated the tornado F2. Grozlis 1991. Even though it says F3. Which, okay. Thanks for the false advertisement, I guess. But yeah, that's it for, I'm just gonna call it the Deer Creek tornado. Our next tornado, we have actually back-to-back F5 tornadoes, which I think is a little crazy, but you know. It says, okay, we're gonna go for the first one here. First F5 was southeast of Tonkawa, Oklahoma to South Haven, Kansas. Okay, we're getting up into Kansas now. It was in 3 counties: Noble County, Kay County, and Sumner County, which 2 were Oklahoma and Sumner, Kansas. Time-wise, whatever 0326 is, and the path for this was around 28.4 miles, and it says with 500 yards or 46 meters. And so summary here: 28 deaths climbing here. This deadly okay, so 9 p.m. CDT. Okay, well, it's changed. CDT. Yeah. Well, I want to say that, but it said for this one, highest wind speeds were 261 to 318 miles per hour, which is basically just the wind speeds of the F5, but okay. 261 to 318. I mean, that's pretty high. But it had 20 fatalities and 280 injuries. It says it claimed the lives of 20 people in Blackwell and injured over 200 before crossing and dissipating over Sumner County, Kansas, along with destroying nearly 200 homes. The tornado was almost demolished the town's main employers, including the Came Foundry and the Hazel Atlas glass plant. 400 homes were destroyed and swept away, and 50 other homes were damaged. 60 businesses were also destroyed, and the local hospitals also sustained major damage. Most of them, western half of the town, was spared the worst of the damage. Multiple eyewitnesses reporting seeing a permanent blue light in the funnel. If you see what I'm going here, we're talking about the Blackwell tornado. The Blackwell tornado. I forgot to mention that literally in the beginning somehow. But yes, this is a Blackwell tornado. This is multiple. We don't know who that multiple is though. Eyewitnesses reporting seeing a prominent blue light in the funnel. Which, who would know what that would be? But you know, that's what it says, and it was an EF5, so not EF5, F5. So you know, this makes it probably the coolest. I shouldn't say coolest, but you know, for my sake, I'm gonna say coolest, because you know it's an F5, and it's also glowing. I mean, that's pretty sick, my guy. That's pretty sick. But yeah, I've already talked about this tornado at the beginning, so there's no. We're moving on to the next EF5 or F5. I don't know why I kept saying EF5, but next one. Our next tornado, which is the other F5 tornado. This tornado is actually the deadliest in the state of Kansas. Again, this is a outbreak that some people, it's not recognized by most people, but you know, it has some of the weirdest and record-breaking tornadoes, and yet not much people have talked about it. That's why I really am intrigued by this outbreak. But yeah, it says deadliest in the state of Kansas. Some people say 80 to 82 deaths for this one. They're disagreeing upon each other here, but you know, for this tornado, it was just from the same supercell that was from the Blackwell tornado. And for the descriptions here, it says east of Peckham, Oklahoma, to northeast of Atlanta, Kansas, Kay, Oklahoma, Sumner, Kansas, and Cowley, Kansas. Time, whatever 0400 is, and path length was around 56.4 miles, and width was 1,300 600 yards. And yeah, it says this tornado was the deadliest in state history with 80 fatalities and 273 injured. But yeah, it just says about after 30 minutes after producing the Blackwell tornado, the same supercell produced this large, violent, long track tornado just east of the first tornado. But yeah, it says around here, it's one of those tornadoes where you just see a picture of a truck frame just being wrapped around a stripped tree, which, you know, that's a terrifying sight at most. Yeah, it says with the foundations left mostly bare of any debris, says including a 30 by 40 foot concrete block building was obliterated. Yeah. And this is, I'm having a hard time reading this right now. The closest hospitals were William Newton and St. Mary's Hospital, which was 17 miles southeast in Winsfield, the former of which took 129 patients that night, and some to St. Luke's Hospital in Wellington, which is 23 miles to the southwest, and some were taken to Wichita, to the northwest. Yeah, I don't exactly, I can't put into my mind how long a mile is, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty far, so, you know, that could have been not very good. I accidentally cut off my recording there, but that is the last EF5, or F5, for this outbreak, and for the rest of the day, there was only 2 F1s and 2 F2s that happened, which, again, I'm not going to talk about them. But now we're moving on to May 26th. From the beginning of the day, only a couple of F1s, well, mostly F1s, there's a lot of F1s actually, and some F2s, and then once we got further into the day, there is an F3, which, we're going to talk about this one now. It says Jesseville area to the northwest of Pencil. This is counties Garland and Saline in Arkansas. So we're moving to the east now, and it says time-wise, whatever 245 is, and it says path length 28.8 miles and width 1,000 yards. It says this tornado damaged 23 homes, primarily in the community of Blakely, with a total losing being estimated at $200,000 gross rated the tornado F2. And I guess they have rated it, I don't know. But there's that tornado, and that's pretty, not much recorded about that tornado. And that seems to be it. Only an F3 the next day, and there's actually a couple of tornadoes that moved into Illinois, which is pretty far off, and there's a couple in Missouri. Let's see if I know any places. Oh, there was one in Joplin. Hey, there was one in Joplin. Yeah, there was an F1 in Joplin. It says it was around 300, 2.7 path, and then 50 yards. So it was probably a rope tornado. Yeah, there's one in Joplin. I don't recognize any of these though. It's like quite literally right in the middle of Missouri, so yeah, I wouldn't really know. But yeah, that's about it for the 1955 Great Plains tornado outbreak. This is my first tornado video, and what I usually say at the end of these videos, if you didn't learn anything, if you thought my commentary was terrible, too flippin' bad, go find another video on it then. There's most definitely someone that made a video on this. I mean, I think every outbreak has a video on it, but you know, that's my first tornado video. Hope you guys like it. I'll probably make my next one. I was thinking of making one of the Night of the Twisters because it has a lot of, you know, in-depth history to it, and there's even a book on it. So next one, I might make one of the Night of the Twisters. I think happened in 1980. So I'm looking forward to do that one, and I'll see you guys later.